Welcome, everyone. Today, we're really diving deep into the world of Talat Alawi. It's a fascinating
It
story.
really is.
We're looking at how one person, just through this relentless drive for truth and reform, actually changed the whole landscape of media and advocacy in Palestine and really beyond.
Yeah, it's more than just a journalist's biography, isn't it? It feels like a kind of blueprint for making an impact.
Totally.
And what's cool about this deep dive is we're pulling from Talat Alawi's own words, his reflections. We'll get into some pretty surprising facts about how he went from, local roots to global recognition.
Mm-hmm.
And this core belief he has that media is the real weapon for change. You're going to hear about some incredible things he did, challenges he faced, and the principles that kept him going.
Right. So our goal here for you listening is to give you the insights, maybe some inspiration to see how real change can happen when you have this passionate media voice behind it. Okay, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's start right at the beginning. Talat Alawi, born in Amman, Jordan. He grew up moving between Amman and Aqaba down south.
Right.
And he wasn't always, destined for media, but the signs were there early on. He used to journal by cutting pages out of the Al Rai newspaper. Just didn't have notebooks.
Isn't that something? It really shows that innate need to record, to document. And his background, the whole political situation then, definitely shaped where he was headed.
Yeah.
He talks about being maybe 11, visiting the Palm Beach Hotel in Aqaba, looking across the water and just wishing he could get to Palestine.
Man.
It seems like a simple kid's wish, but it really stuck with him, became a driving force.
And then there was this moment, right? He goes back to Aqaba in 1990, runs into his cousin,
Mm-hmm.
and the cousin's moving to the U.S., has an American passport, and plans to visit Jerusalem.
Mm.
And this sparks this idea in Talat's head. He called it unbalanced.
Yeah, the idea of marrying a foreigner just to get across the border.
Exactly. It just highlights the sheer difficulty, the obstacles Palestinians face just trying to get home then.
Absolutely. And it makes you realize how huge those later political shifts were. The Oslo Accords and then the Wadi Araba Agreement in October 94.
That changed everything.
Totally changed the game. Suddenly, him as a Jordanian citizen, he could get a visa. It made his dream possible way sooner than he probably thought. He finally returned in March 1996.
He calls that the Aqaba lesson.
Yeah.
This idea that if you have a noble goal, something authentic,
Yeah.
that things around you will somehow conspire to help you reach it. If
Yeah.
you have sincerity and faith, it's quite a powerful way to look at things.
It is. But, even with that belief, things weren't always easy. Take the Wadi Araba deal. Huge hopes, right? Especially economic.
Right, the jobs promise.
Exactly. All this talk about 1,500 jobs in Eilat for people from Aqaba. Big money compared to local wages, like 500 Jordanian dinars versus 150.
Yeah.
But then, nothing. He uses this image of spoiled tuna cans, symbols of these economic promises that just, spoiled on the shelf. The jobs never really appeared.
Spoiled tuna cans. That's like a vivid way to put it. Really captures that sense of broken promises, doesn't it?
Definitely.
So, okay, he finally gets back to Palestine, and he says something really striking, that he wouldn't have written his book if he hadn't returned. He even calls Palestine the capital of Arab journalism. Why is that return, and specifically Jerusalem, so fundamental for him?
That's a great question, because for him, Jerusalem isn't just, a political capital. It's the journalistic capital, historically.
Okay.
You had papers like Al-Quds Al-Sharif starting way back in 1876. It's got this incredibly long history as a center for news for Arab journalism. It's just baked into the city's identity.
And he has this personal ritual, right? Walking around the old city walls.
Every week, yeah, 900 dunams, that's over 3.5 kilometers of walls,
Yeah.
visiting dozens of mosques. He talks about places like Al-Kanka al-Salahiyya, built by Saladin back in 1189, giving him huge energy and inspiration. It's like he connects today's struggles with history there, draws strength from it.
And the connection is personal too, isn't it? There's family history there.
Oh, absolutely. It's fascinating. He has an ancestor, Sharif Abdullah Alawi, who came from the Moroccan royal family, the Alawites, and settled right there at Bab al-Maghriba, the Moroccan gate, way back in 1801.
1801, so over 200 years of roots in Jerusalem.
Exactly. So for him, this isn't just history in a book. It's in his blood. It definitely fuels his passion, his mission.
And you see that translating into how he works. He made this deliberate shift from mainly spoken media back to writing for a time.
Yeah.
And dedicating these really specific quiet hours, 1 a.m. to 5 a.m., a couple days a week.
Yeah, seeking out tranquility. Getting away from the city buzz, the phone.
What can we, take from that discipline? For anyone trying to create something impactful.
I think it shows that these deep connections, the history, the spirituality, they weren't just background for him. They were the fuel. They powered his belief that journalism isn't just a witness, but a maker of events.
Hmm.
And that conviction that a free media person can change the world, it comes from that deep well. It's about, I guess, finding your own source of energy and making the space to actually use it.
So looking at his career path, it was incredibly strategic. He literally wrote a 10-year plan back in 1996.
Yeah, amazing foresight.
And it wasn't vague. He said he wanted to be influential and a reformer, have tools of influence, lead a media institution. Even added he wanted to be a writer, monitor, critic, fearing no one but God. Pretty bold.
Very bold. And then he took real practical steps. He did his homework, researched the Palestinian newspaper scene, and then in 2007 launched Al-Safir al-Qasadi, the economic ambassador.
The first English-language economic paper in Palestine, right?
Yeah, right.
And Arabic, too.
Exactly. Which sounds straightforward now, maybe, but back then, huge challenges. He was working crazy hours, like over 14 hours a day. And there were no other local economic papers, especially not in English, to kind of, model after. He was really paving the way.
And his innovation wasn't just starting it, but how he did it, simplifying the economic jargon.
Right, making it accessible. His whole thing was economics is not just for economists.
So what's the bigger idea there? Is it just about simple language, or is it more about, empowering regular people with knowledge?
I think it's definitely the empowerment piece. He saw that if economics felt like this exclusive club, people couldn't really engage with stuff that massively affected their lives.
Makes sense.
So by simplifying it, focusing on really professional design, he spent 6 months just on issue 0, the pilot issue. He was basically democratizing that information. That itself is a form of advocacy.
Then he moves into audio. Apparently, a colleague, George Kanawati, told him he had a radio voice.
Yeah. Sometimes it takes someone else to point it out.
And that leads to 90 Minutes in Economics in 2009. He said that live 90-minute show felt like 90 hours at first.
I can imagine. Live radio is intense, but that's where he really honed his ability to think on his feet, to improvise.
Yeah, stepping out of the comfort zone.
Yeah.
He was a writer, now doing live, unscripted radio.
Totally different skill set. And he kept evolving. Launched Al Raqueb file next, which tackled broader public stuff, and then the Economic Interrogator in 2015.
Right, the Economic Interrogator sounds intense. And it was focused on really big national issues, departure tax, medical mistakes, getting the King Hussein Bridge open 24/7.
And he wasn't just asking questions. He'd prepared draft decisions for officials before the interview.
Seriously, here's the solution.
Yeah, pushing for actual action. Not just talking about the problem, but actively trying to solve it through his platform.
That's incredible. And it ties into his whole approach to learning, too, right? Attending that mobile journalism workshop.
Oh, yeah, that's a great story. It was designed for totally new journalists, beginners, and there he is, this established figure sitting there as a trainee.
Among people he'd probably trained himself.
Exactly. He said he knew it would impact his work, learning these new skills. It just embodies that idea. Don't be ashamed to say, I want to learn, never stop learning.
And then the culmination, in a way, global recognition in 2014, the Guinness World Record.
For the longest radio interview, 50 hours straight.
Yeah.
Broke the old record of 46 hours.
50 hours. I mean, forget the talking, just staying awake. But beyond the endurance, what kind of pressure is that? Interviewing hundreds of people, presidents included, nonstop.
It's mind-boggling. You've got this constant stream of guests from, regular folks to world leaders, and these strict rules, a new question every single minute, only 5 minutes break per hour.
Wow.
The mental stamina required, staying impartial under that kind of fatigue and pressure, managing all those different personalities and viewpoints. It's an incredible testament to his knowledge, his focus, his diplomatic skill too, I guess.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit and talk about the actual tangible impact. He really believes media is the greatest job, quotes Napoleon.
Yeah, the line about 3 hostile newspapers being more impactful than 1,000 rifles, it shows how much power he sees in media.
And that power has arguably grown, right, with social media, the 5th power, as some call it.
Oh, absolutely. You see moments like Donald Trump's Twitter account being deleted in 2020. It just highlights this ongoing tussle between traditional media, digital platforms, and citizen power. It's a constantly changing landscape.
So let's get concrete. His 50 experiences, examples where his work directly led to change. Tell us about the banks in 2013.
Right, this was huge. He found out 3 banks were charging insane interest rates, like over 35%, on housing loans for people in Jerusalem.
35%, yeah.
Yeah. And the kicker was there were Arab funds, like $30 million, specifically meant for easy loans, where the interest should have been tiny, symbolic.
That's what did he do?
He hammered it on his show, Al Raqib File, week after week. He wrote letters to the Islamic Development Bank, faced backlash, smear campaigns, but he kept at it. And crucially, he got the support of Mohammed Shtayyeh, who's now the prime minister. That sustained pressure worked.
That persistence paying off. What about the drug prices?
Another big one. This was in 2014, again on Al Raqib File. He focused on this critical drug, Enbrel. Its price was 50 Israeli shekels NIS. Through his program's pressure, the health minister cut it in half, down to 25 NIS.
Wow, 50% reduction just like that.
Pretty much, but then later the price crept back up. So Talat didn't just report it. He went and met personally with the health minister and the prime minister. Right there on the spot, he argued for it to be reduced again and got immediate approval.
Direct advocacy face-to-face. Amazing. And he wasn't afraid to challenge government ministers live on air either.
Nope. 2015, interviewing the Minister of Local Government on 90 Minutes in Economics, he asked about these illegal fee increases the ministry had imposed. The minister just hung up on him live. Yes. But Talat didn't let it go. He kept the pressure on, and within 24 hours, the undersecretary went on TV and announced they were stopping the illegal fees.
Incredible. From hang-up to reversal in a day.
Shows the power of refusing to back down. And he used that power for workers, too. Like when 60 workers got laid off from plastic factories because of electricity price hikes.
What happened there?
He used our Raqib File to build public support, interviewed everyone involved, electricity officials, energy ministry people, the factory owners themselves, put it all out there. And the result?
Yeah.
The workers got their jobs back.
That's fantastic. Bridging that gap, like you said earlier.
Exactly. And then there's the Al Karama Crossing campaign, King Hussein Bridge.
The Dignity campaign. That took years, right?
10 years, a decade-long struggle using media, being physically present there, advocating for better conditions for the millions, literally 3 million people who travel through there every year.
And they got results.
Big ones. They managed to get rid of the Abdullah Garage station in 2015, which was a major bottleneck and source of frustration. And finally, they pushed through the 24-hour operation of the bridge, fully achieved in 2019. Huge quality of life improvement.
That's monumental. And alongside these big campaigns, he was doing constant, direct advocacy.
Yeah, sending these detailed messages, like 2 or 3 every week, directly to the prime minister at the time, Rami Hamdallah. Over 100 messages in total.
Wow, what kind of issues?
All sorts. Critical stuff like a shockingly high rate of construction worker deaths, making up half of all work-related fatalities, or the spread of drugs. And he made sure they landed, that they were seen and addressed.
It's just relentless pressure and follow-through.
It is, and it was so effective that, funnily enough, people started speculating.
Speculating about what?
Because his shows had such impact, uncovering corruption, forcing change, some people actually started thinking he must be like an intelligence officer.
Seriously?
They thought the government put him up to it. Yeah, that his show was some kind of official channel to let off steam or expose things the government wanted exposed anyway, which is fascinating, right?
Definitely.
But he always insisted fiercely on his independence, which just makes his achievements even more impressive. It shows what truly independent media holding power to account can actually do.
So let's try to wrap this up. What are the big takeaways, the core principles from Talat Alawi's journey? For anyone listening who wants to make a difference, first, clearly, it's continuous learning.
Absolutely critical.
He never stopped. Going to that mobile journalism workshop, listening to the old pros, never being, as he put it, ashamed to say, I want to learn, and avoiding that VIP journalist trap.
Right. Choosing to talk to workers at a rest stop, not just hanging out with the elite.
What does that tell us?
Yeah.
About where real understanding comes from?
It says you've got to stay grounded. Humility matters. Real insights often come from those everyday conversations, from people living the reality you're reporting on or trying to change. You can't be effective if you're stuck in an echo chamber.
Okay, second principle. Economic journalism is advocacy.
Yeah, he really reframed it. Not just reporting numbers, but seeing it as a way to pressure decision makers to shape policy.
And when he couldn't find the data he needed, like on businesses failing?
He didn't just give up. He pushed the official statistics bureau. They actually formed a team just to get him the info for his show.
So the takeaway there is Don't just report what exists, maybe. Push for the information that should exist.
Exactly. Be a catalyst for transparency. If the information isn't there, use your platform to demand it. That's a huge lever for accountability.
And finally, number 3, integrity and boldness. Just unwavering.
That story about refusing the shopping coupon after the Guinness record?
Yeah, like 1,000 shekels. Not insignificant. But he said the value of collegiality isn't measured by money.
Sets a standard. And the other story, telling a major investor to turn off his phone during a conference he was running.
Takes guts, regardless of who it is.
It shows conviction, right? His principles weren't for sale, and they weren't flexible based on who he was dealing with. Credibility is everything, and he knew he had to guard it fiercely.
It all feeds into his idea of the media person's weapons, meeting culture across the board. Humanistic, political, economic, legal, historical language.
A whole toolkit. Because he sees the media's role as massive. To expose what's wrong, sure, but also to lift people up, inspire justice, push for progress.
What an incredible journey we've walked through. Talat Alawi's spirit, his unique take on media as a tool, a weapon for change, and actually making it happen, turning goals into real results.
It's truly inspiring. And it brings us to maybe a final thought, something rooted in his philosophy. Talat Alawi strongly believes knowledge is most valuable when understood and applied.
Applied. Yep.
So the question for you, listening right now, is what action will you take? How will you apply what you've heard today? Inspired by this story, how can you be a catalyst for positive change in whatever world you operate in?
A powerful question to end on. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.